The shuttle's engines hummed as it docked, vibrations thrumming through the deck beneath Kara Vance's boots. She stared out the small porthole, her breath catching at the sight before her. Stellar Base Alpha loomed large against the backdrop of an endless starfield, its sleek metallic design shimmering as the light from a nearby binary star bathed it in alternating hues of gold and violet. The space station was massive, its arms outstretched like a mechanical spider, with ships zipping in and out of its docking bays like busy insects. Kara had waited her entire life for this moment. From the time she was a little girl on Earth, poring over hollows of fleet officers in action, she had dreamed of this day. Now, at 16, she was here, standing on the threshold of her greatest adventure. The docking bay doors opened with a hiss of pressurized air, and Kara stepped into the bustling station. The air was cooler than she expected, carrying a faint metallic tang. Around her, hundreds of recruits, human and alien alike, streamed into the reception area. Kara clutched her duffel bag tighter, her wide green eyes darting from one strange figure to the next. A reptilian alien with scales that shimmered like liquid mercury shuffled past her, followed by a floating orb that pulsed faintly as if breathing. "Move along, recruits!" barked a voice over the intercom. The authority in the tone made Kara snap to attention and quicken her pace. The reception area was a cavernous space lined with glowing panels and holoscreens, displaying instructions in dozens of languages. Kara scanned the screens until she found her name. Vance, Kara. Barracks Sector 7G. Following the arrows projected on the walls, she navigated the maze-like corridors until she arrived at her assigned barracks. The room was modest but functional, with 4 beds, storage lockers, and a central table. Kara wasn't alone for long. The door slid open, and a cyan-skinned girl walked in, her silver eyes scanning the room. "Guess we're bunkmates," she said, tossing a bag onto the nearest bed. "Larea, Meridian. And before you ask, yes, I can float things with my mind. No, I won't do it for fun." Kara blinked, caught off guard by the blunt introduction. "Kara Vance, human. From Earth." Larea smirked, her silver eyes glinting. "Figures. You've got that starstruck look all over you. Don't worry, newbie. We'll knock that out of you soon enough." Before Kara could respond, the door slid open again, and an enormous insectoid figure ducked through the doorway. Its mandibles clicked as it spoke in a deep, resonant voice. "Trinok of the Tharok, assigned here by command. I will not disturb your personal spaces." Kara and Larea exchanged a glance before Kara hesitantly said, Thanks?" The final member of their group arrived moments later, a wiry boy with a confident grin and a swagger that seemed entirely out of place for someone fresh off a transport. "Jax Orion, Earthborn, future fleet legend," he declared, dropping his bag onto the last bed with a flourish. "Legend?" Larea asked, arching an eyebrow. "You've been here 5 minutes." "Exactly," Jax replied, flashing a grin. "Plenty of time to start building my legacy." Kara couldn't help but laugh, though she quickly stifled it when a chime sounded and a sharp voice echoed through the room. "All recruits, report to the main hall for orientation. Failure to arrive promptly will result in disciplinary action." "Welcome to Bootcamp," Larea muttered as they hurried out the door. The main hall was a vast chamber filled with rows of recruits standing at attention. At the front of the room stood Commander Rylus, a tall Ospharian whose silver scales gleamed under the lights. Her piercing amber eyes scanned the crowd, her posture exuding authority. "Recruits," she began, her voice cutting through the low hum of the hall. "You are here because you dared to dream of something greater than yourselves. The Galactic Fleet is not a playground. It is not a place for mediocrity. It is the backbone of peace and order in this galaxy. Discipline and unity will determine whether you succeed here or fail miserably. Kara felt the weight of the commander's gaze as it passed over her. She straightened her back, determination burning in her chest. Your journey will not be easy, Rylus continued. But if you endure, you will stand among the finest beings this galaxy has ever known. Dismissed. The recruits filed out, their conversations hushed. Kara felt a mix of awe and nervousness. The bar had been set high, but she was ready to rise to the challenge. The day ended with a team-building exercise. Each group was tasked with constructing a basic navigation device, using parts provided from their respective worlds. Lyraea's telekinesis proved invaluable, floating delicate components into place, while Trinok's sturdy claws handled the heavier pieces. Jax mostly offered commentary, though his quick thinking helped troubleshoot a faulty circuit. Kara found herself taking the lead, her creativity driving the design. When their device lit up with a soft glow, signaling completion, their team was declared the winner. Kara felt a surge of pride as her squad celebrated, the first threads of camaraderie forming between them. Later that night, after lights out, Kara found her way to the observation deck. She stared out at the real star field beyond the station's transparent dome, the binary stars casting their golden and violet glow across the void. The immensity of space stretched out before her, vast and infinite. This is where I'm meant to be, she whispered to herself, her breath fogging the glass. Returning to her bunk, Kara lay awake for a while, her mind buzzing with excitement. The journey had begun, and she couldn't wait to see what tomorrow would bring. The klaxon blared at exactly 0600 hours, an unrelenting siren that yanked Kara from a deep sleep. For a moment, she thought she was still on Earth, tangled in the sheets of her old bed. Then reality hit, and she scrambled to her feet, heart pounding. "Move it, Vance!" Jax called from across the barracks, already halfway into his uniform. Lyraea floated her boots into place with a flick of her wrist, smirking. "You're going to love mornings in the fleet," she quipped as Kara hastily yanked on her jumpsuit. "Don't forget to breathe," Trinok added, his low voice calm despite the chaos. Within minutes, they were assembled on the training grounds, a wide-open platform under the station's protective dome. The stars glimmered faintly through the translucent barrier above, the binary suns still tucked below the horizon of the station's artificial cycle. Commander Rylus stood at the front of the assembled recruits, her silver scales reflecting the harsh glow of overhead lights. Behind her, a series of intricate obstacle courses stretched out in every direction, walls that shimmered with anti-gravity fields, a simulated battlefield dotted with craters and holographic hazards, and towering barriers that seemed impossible to climb. "Today's objective," Rylus announced, her voice sharp enough to cut through the chilly air, "is to evaluate your physical capabilities and teamwork under stress. The Galactic Fleet does not cater to individual glory. Success comes from cohesion and adaptability. Those who fail to meet my standards will be reassigned or dismissed." The recruits exchanged nervous glances. Kara felt her stomach twist, but forced herself to focus. This was what she signed up for. Rylus pointed to the first obstacle, a 15-meter wall lined with anti-gravity nodes that flickered unpredictably, turning on and off at irregular intervals. "You will scale the wall as a team. No one gets left behind. Begin." Kara's squad was among the first to approach the wall. Trinok analyzed the pattern of the nodes, his compound eyes darting back and forth. "The field destabilizes every 3.7 seconds. We must move quickly and in sync." "Got it," Kara said. "Lyraea, can you give us a boost?" "With pleasure," Lyraea replied, extending her hands. Using her telekinesis, she lifted Kara and Jax a few feet off the ground, just enough to grab the first active node. From there, they worked as a unit, Kara leading the way, Jax close behind, and Trinnock climbing with surprising agility for someone his size. Larea floated herself upward effortlessly, grinning as she passed the others. "Show off," Jax muttered. Halfway up, one of the nodes beneath Kara's hand blinked off, and she slipped, her heart lurching as she dangled by one arm. "Hold on!" Trinnock called, reaching out with his clawed hand to stabilize her. "Thanks," Kara gasped, hauling herself back up. They reached the top together, and Kara turned to help Jax over the final ledge. As they landed on the other side of the wall, a buzzer sounded, signaling their success. Kara wiped sweat from her brow, exhilaration coursing through her. "Not bad," Jax said, grinning. "We might actually survive this." The obstacle course continued with challenges that tested every aspect of the recruits' abilities. They navigated shifting terrain that mimicked unstable planetary surfaces, sprinted through a gauntlet of holographic drones firing stun pulses, and carried a weighted dummy through a simulated battlefield under a hail of simulated fire. Kara's squad struggled at times. Jax's impulsiveness nearly got him zapped by a drone, and Larea's levitation abilities had limits when dealing with the heavier tasks. But Trinnock's steady guidance and Kara's quick thinking kept them on track. By the time they reached the final challenge, a high-speed zipline ride over a simulated chasm, they were exhausted but triumphant. Kara felt a swell of pride as they crossed the finish line, their teamwork stronger than when they had begun. After the obstacle course, the recruits were given a brief reprieve for lunch. The cafeteria was a bustling hub of activity, filled with recruits from dozens of species. Kara and her squad claimed a table near the observation windows, where the stars stretched out in endless splendor. Trinnock meticulously arranged his food, his mandibles clicking softly. "The Tarok believe that mealtime is a sacred ritual. Food should never be consumed in haste." Larea snorted. "Good luck with that here. We're lucky if we get 10 minutes before Rylus yells at us again." Jax leaned back in his chair, balancing it precariously on two legs. "So, Kara," he said, smirking, "you're pretty good at this whole teamwork thing. What's your secret? Leadership classes on Earth?" Kara shook her head, laughing. "No, just a lot of practice wrangling my younger siblings. Turns out, getting two toddlers to share a toy isn't that different from getting you to work with the rest of us." The table erupted in laughter, even Trinnock clicking in what Kara assumed was amusement. The afternoon was dedicated to classroom training. The recruits attended a lecture on alien physiology, led by a holographic instructor who detailed the strengths and vulnerabilities of various species. Kara found the session fascinating, her mind whirling with possibilities for how this knowledge could be used in the field. Next came a zero-gravity combat drill, where recruits were fitted with magnetic boots and instructed to disable floating drones using stun rods. Kara adapted quickly to the disorienting environment, her movements fluid as she dodged and struck with precision. Her squad cheered when she managed to take out 3 drones in quick succession, earning a rare nod of approval from Commander Rylus, who observed from the sidelines. "Vance," Rylus said as Kara exited the drill, "you have potential. Don't waste it." The words were curt, but Kara felt a glow of pride. By the end of the day, Kara was bone-tired, but exhilarated. Back in the barracks, the squad shared stories of their mishaps during the drills, laughing until their sides hurt. As the station's artificial lights dimmed to simulate night, Kara found herself back at the observation deck. The binary suns were visible now, their light painting the station in a surreal palette of gold and violet. The vastness of space stretched out before her, and she felt a profound sense of belonging. "This is only the beginning," she murmured to herself. Returning to her bunk, Kara let exhaustion take over, her dreams filled with stars and the endless possibilities of what lay ahead. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this story, please consider liking and subscribing.